to stay.
Hello and welcome back to Beyond Boards, a podcast dedicated to the interests and actions of skaters beyond skateboarding. My guest today, Ben Derenne, started working in the late 90s as a filmer for Puzzle, the European equivalent to 411 Video magazine. Around the same time, he had the opportunity to join forces with Jérémie Daclin, pro skater and founder of the board brand Cliché skateboards, as their team manager, main filmer, and videographer. They put together the brand's first video, Europa, starring iconic European skaters of that era such as Vincent Bressol, Pontus, Ricardo Fonseca, Gigi Rousseau, or Javier Mendizabal, to name a few. Europa was a game changer and established Cliché as a serious challenger from Europe for board brands around the world, and particularly in the US. After Cliché, Ben spent a few years working at Globe Shoes and eventually left the skateboarding industry in 2008, right as the financial crisis was about to hit. He has since then used his marketing expertise in many different projects outside of skateboarding and is currently working on new projects in Villard de Lans in the French Alps, where he lives with his family. So here's my conversation with Ben Derenne. I hope you'll enjoy it. All right. Well, thank you very much, Ben. Thank you very much for
Yes.
taking some time to chat with me. So you grew up in the Paris area, right? I think you told me you spent some time in Bourg-la-Reine and around Thiers, that whole area. So in the Paris suburbs, right? Is that where you grew up?
Yeah, that's like the southeast suburbs, little cities with not so many skate spots. And yeah, I grew up there. I started skating when I was 10, so it's around 86. I think it's a bit classic, but I was more into BMX, bike riding, and in France at this time we had one of the only magazine was called BMX and Skate, Bicross and Skate.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I was really interested into skating, watching the ads or the article, but when I really started is like I had a friend who had like a very cheap skateboard. We used to call that in France the Go Sport skateboard, or I would say the supermarket skateboard.
Mm-hmm.
And I get into it really fast, and I would say a few weeks later it was Christmas, so I went with my father at the skate shop. For the French it's called Pierronnier, a bike and skate shop, and I got this complete board, an Alva Build Danforth, I remember, with school heads and fluo. And yeah, it all started like this. It took me like 1 year to really be able to do an ollie, because the boards were so heavy at the time, and I was a small kid. And after... at this time, there was not so many skateboarders, So I remember when I went to it's called sixth grade in France. There was only one skateboarder. He was in my class, and it was like this. And after, I got two different crew that I started skateboarding with, and I would say from 10 to probably 19 years old, I would skate every time I could. After school, I would check the weather forecast all the time. When you're a skateboarder, you just want that it would never rain. And yeah, I was skating all the time. When there was my last exam, le baccalauréat in French, you have like few weeks to work on your exam, and I would just go skate. So I had it, but so close.
So you started snowboarding pretty much at the same time, right? I know that you did a lot of snowboarding as well growing up. Did you start at the same time, or did you start later in life to go snowboarding?
It's almost at the same time, maybe 1 year later or something like this. I had the chance to go ski with my parents in the winter during the holidays. So yeah, when you start to skate and if you go to a ski resort, for sure you're going to start to snowboard. But it was really the beginning at the time. So I remember my first board, I was riding ski boots, because there were no snowboard boots for my size.
Yeah.
But yeah, I was really into snowboarding almost at the same period. But I would say I got into snowboarding a lot around 15, when with my skate friends, we would start to go on holidays by ourselves without our parents.
Mm-hmm.
there was this ski resort in France called Avoria. All the skateboarders in Paris would go to this resort. There was the first snow park was there, and I mean it was like the city and the skaters in the city in the mountain or something like that. So I mean I had a transition between skateboarding to snowboarding. The transition was, I would say, from 15 to 19, and I almost quit skateboarding around 19, 20, and also because, I mean, at the beginning when I was starting to film skateboard, I would bring two boards, because when you're filming skateboard, you have a board with bigger wheels and very soft wheels, and
Sure.
it's I mean, you can do a ollie over a pavement, but not more. It's impossible to skate with a board like this. So at the beginning, I would bring two boards, but two boards plus a backpack with video equipment. It's not so
practical.
convenient. And the story, it's also about when you have a board like this with you, and one of the rider is breaking his board. He's starting to take your board to finish the trick, and most of the time he breaks your board. So in the end, I just have one filming board with me, and that's also why in the end I quit skateboarding, because I only got my filming board.
Did you ever want to get sponsored or try to become pro in skateboarding, or did you just always skate for pleasure without aspiring to have a career out of it?
I was probably dreaming of stuff like this as a kid, as probably all the kids, but it was not a plan at all. And my skateboarding level was all right at some times, but no, nothing close to hope to be sponsored. I got sponsored a little when I was snowboarding.
Okay.
Just got few boards, but I'm not even sure my level was really enough to be legit to have those boards. But it was really a passion. Like, I mean, I would go to school, and the only thing I would do outside school was skateboarding. So it's not an addiction, but it's really the passion. Like, your life is around skateboarding.
Sure.
But as a kid, I was like dreaming to work in a skate shop. We would go in Paris to a street machine, that Parisian skate shop, and you're a kid and you see the guy behind the counter selling boards. I'm not sure it's the most interesting job. When you become adult, I'm not sure many people dream to spend their life working on a skate shop, even if it's your passion.
Gripping boards.
Yeah. But no, it's all about passion. And nowadays, when I look back at my working days in skateboarding, that's still what I got in mind. That was a dream, and I had this unique opportunity to work in my passion for 11 years. It's magic.
Yeah, for sure. So this is just a side question, sort of, but I think you skated a lot with a famous French skater called Marc Haziza, and he used to nickname you, I guess he still nicknames you King of Downhill. I was just wondering how that nickname came about, like what's the story behind that?
I haven't really skated with him when I was skating a lot. I met him when we started Puzzle, because he was a good friend of the guy starting Puzzle. And but on our first tour first skate tour to film for the first Puzzle video. We were in Sweden, in Stockholm. I think it was the end of the day. We were skating and filming with the locals, and at some point we were like up a hill. And the locals were just going to go down the hill, like you're cruising down a hill with your friends, and the light was good. So I just see this, I'm like, oh, that's a nice shot, So I just put the camera on, and I push like an animal, and I'm following them. And the floor was really sketchy. So we were on the pavement, and at some point the pavement stopped, and the guys just like went down on the street.
Okay.
And when you're following skateboarders, you're filming really close to you're actually really close to the floor, so you're not as easy on your board as when you're skating.
Standing straight up. Yeah.
And at this point, so I'm going really fast. The shot is very nice, and I have to go down the pavement. And when I land on the street, My board's starting to go really wobble and like I lose totally control. My trucks are like if they were totally loose. And I'm like, okay, I can't do a slide or power slide because with the soft wheels.
Oh, yeah.
Even with the speed, maybe. Anyway, and I decide to jump from the board and run as much as I can. But I couldn't. I mean, I did it, but then I slammed so hard.
You fell. Oh,
and
shit.
as I have my brand new camera in the hand, I slam with holding my hand in the air, and I slam without even, you don't say that in English, but in France you say like a shit, on the ground. And like I slammed so hard. And Marc was behind, and as he told me after, as soon as I saw you starting to film those guys down the hill, he said, what the fuck is he doing? And so after he nicknamed me King of Downhill, and I don't see him often at all, but I saw him a few years ago after maybe 10 years, and he called me King of Downhill. And so, yeah, till we die, I think for Marco, I'm King of Downhill.
No, for sure. I can understand that he remembers this when he sees you. So you just mentioned the puzzle. So can you tell me a little bit about this project? So basically you told me you met with Thomas Paulin, whose nickname is Mamat, who co-founded Puzzle, which was basically sort of a European version of 411, but with snowboarding as well. It wasn't just skateboarding.
No, not really. The Mamat has the idea to make a snowboard and skateboard European video magazine. So that was the first plan, and we actually met because we were snowboarding, and we became friends because we were snowboarding together. But it really started to be only a skateboard European video magazine. But it's exactly like 411 with a pro part, tour part, the contest, and 411 was every 2 months. Mm-hmm. And Puzzle was every 3 months because it was already a challenge. And we met together. I remember we were friends already, and he told me one day, okay, follow me on this project. I can't promise anything to you, but just come with me. And I think it was really important. It was a friend stuff. So I never been associated to the company, but I've been, I can say I'm like the co-founder of Puzzle since day one. And I think they made 48 videos, and I've been filming from the first to the 41.
Okay.
When I quit working. So I've been investing in every puzzle. It started, as a friend stuff.
So that was at the end of the 90s, right? So around 98 or 97 maybe?
The video was premiered in September 97 at a trade show in France, which was called Gliss Expo. So it was famous trade show in the southwest of France, where all the surf industry is located for Europe. And so a trade show with a skateboard contest, and so all the industry was there. So we did the premiere there. But before, so Mamat was really friend with Marc Haziza. The beginning was he was skating with him a lot. He did a part with Marc in the first video. And most of the video was also filmed in a 3 weeks tour we did in France.
Okay.
So it was 2 filmers, Mamat and me, and Marc Haziza and Nao Nussbaum, who was a good friend of Mamat and Marco. So someone lent us a car. A very shitty car, but the guy who lent us his car, it was very cool. His name is Dave Mailman, and he became later the European marketing director for Quicksilver in Europe.
Okay.
And he was, at the time, doing his own brand, and so the deal was, okay, I lend you my car, do whatever you want, and you give me an advertising in your video. So we went from south of France to Montpellier. At the time in the summer in Europe, there were tons of, in July you had a big contest every weekend. So we started by this contest in France. Mm-hmm. We went up to Sweden, though, so I don't know, it's probably 3,000 kilometers, maybe more, I think. Mm. So we did all the European contests. So you had Munster, you had Prague, you had stuff like this.
What was the one in Prague? There was one in the Mystic Cup or something?
Yeah. You had the World Cup in Munster. You had the Mystic Cup. For some time, you had this. It was called Attitude Festival in Montpellier. It was very cool. It was also about music. And after you had also Lausanne.
Oh, yeah.
So at this time, I mean, it was very important because many of the American pro would spend all July in Europe going from contest to contest. And so we were sure to film all these very important contests. And after, we would start to go. We went to Belgium, to Germany, Holland, Copenhagen to buy weed for Marco, especially. And up to Stockholm. And it was all about, okay, we have a connection. We can stay at some friends or some friends of your friends. And all the first European video magazine was filmed mostly on this 3 weeks skate tour.
Mm-hmm. So you started this project with Mamat, and so you were traveling a lot and filming. And by the way, were you doing mostly filming, or were you involved in other stuff with the company? Were you editing? Were you doing other things than purely filming tricks, basically?
At the beginning, I wasn't editing. Even for the first video, Mamat didn't know about edit. So we actually edit with someone technically, and Mamat telling to the guy, okay, you cut there, you put this trick, because nobody had a computer and we didn't. So for the first years, I was just filming, but I was taking care of getting in contact with the different filmers in Europe and trying to find new filmers, because Mamat wouldn't speak a word in English. So that's the funny story about a guy who wanted to do a European video magazine, and even at the end he wouldn't speak a word of English. So I was the guy who would be able to speak some English, and I would take care of trying to get filmers in the project, because there were almost no filmers in Europe, and the difficult part was like when there was a filmer in a country and a filmer that could actually film some good stuff, he would do his own video in his country. So we had this problem to try to motivate the people to say, okay, we have this European project. It's not easy to tell them, almost like maybe it's better if you send us your footage and in the end you don't do your local video in your country. So the beginning was not easy. I mean, we had lots of critics, negative critics, criticism sometimes with puzzle, because people would say, the skateboarding is not so good, or the music is shit. People won't imagine how difficult was it to get actually some okay filming or music rights or so. And I remember that sometimes it was really hard for Mamat to hear people
talk shit.
It was. I mean, people were right, but when you invest so much and you invest all his money in the project and you never really made. I mean, at some years we would pay ourselves, but just regular money. But most of the years, I mean, myself, I probably spent so much money in the project. So I mean, the thing also is it's 97, 24 years before, and at this time there was no internet. I mean, I remember Mamat has his first email in 97. And nobody has a computer at the time even. So I couldn't even learn how to do it. So no, I was mostly filming, but Mamat was staying at the office. He was taking care of the company also. So it's a lot of time spending on running a company. And he was editing. So I was the guy going on tour, going in Europe, and also spending most of the time filming. So I was on our, let's say, association, I was the guy who would travel most of the time in Europe and spend lots of time
on the road.
Filming. Because we couldn't just wait for European filmers to send us some footage. For years, we had to go to the country to film
yourselves.
Film myself, the skater in different countries.
Sure. So you were doing that for a little bit, and then you had the opportunity to go film Jérémie Daclin, who founded Cliché. I don't remember what year he founded Cliché, but I guess it was pretty much around that time, maybe 97, 96 or something.
It's also 97.
97,
yeah.
Right. So you went to Lyon to film a part with him for Puzzle, right? That's how you first got introduced to Jérémie?
I didn't know him, and I had decided to film a part with him because he was such an important skateboarder in France, and also in Europe, and known a bit in the US. And also I was a kid. There were two French skateboarders in the 90s and even later, but in the 90s was Stéphane Larence and Jérémie Daclin. I was a kid. I had those guys on the poster on my walls, and say I wanted to do a part with him. And I tried to remember if I saw him at the Mystic Cup, and I spoke with him there, or if I just gave him a call. I'm not sure. He just said yes directly.
Okay.
So not long after, it was probably summer '99. Like a few weeks later, I arrived in Lyon, and I wanted to start to film with him. I mean, Cliché he was the guy running Cliché by himself. I mean, he was doing absolutely everything.
Sure.
Running the company, packing the stuff for the shops and everything. So it was really small, and he was actually working every day a lot.
Yeah.
He was really into doing this filming part, but he didn't really had some free time. So we were trying to film during lunchtime and sometime after his working day in Cliché. We did a little trip to Marseille because he really wanted to have a trick in the Marseille Ball.
Oh yeah.
I don't know if it's few days or I probably stay one week, and it wasn't really working. I mean, he didn't really have enough time to film.
Sure.
I can't remember if we spoke together or if it's him who said, "Oh, I don't think it's going to work." Hey, just tell me, but instead of filming me, you should do the Cliché skate video, just like this. So, I mean, at this time there weren't, many filmers in France or Europe, but we probably had some good times together. I mean, Jérémie is really someone who welcomes you. I mean, it's a very nice guy, you know. So. He probably also see that we were hanging out together and we had some nice time. So yeah, it all started like this. Okay, yeah, let's go. And that's all how it started. At the time, I was filming a lot in skateboarding, and yeah, I wasn't making any money. The money which I was making when you have to buy a camera, and it probably pay me a bit of food, but when you have to pay your travel, food, or whatever, so. I was filming a lot. It was hard. It was a hard job, and I wasn't making any money. So I was like, okay, I was thinking about quitting filming and let's say get a regular job.
Yeah.
And so I think in my head I was like, I don't think I already said that to someone, but I said, okay, I will film the Cliché video. That's a unique opportunity to film a brand video. And I will quit filming after the video.
Right. Okay.
And at the time, for example, to tell you there were not so much money, Jérémie told me, okay, I have a budget. It's not so much. And so it was like, it was 10,000 francs, so it's 1,500 euros for 1 year of filming, including my expenses.
Oh my
so
God.
travel and everything. But at the same time, I mean, for me, it was not a money project, you know.
Yeah.
Filming in skateboarding was not about to... At the time, it wasn't about to make money.
Of course.
Even if I was doing it like a job. And for Cliché, for Jérémie, it actually... I mean, we laugh, but it was some money.
Yeah.
It was not that he was trying to doesn't pay that much the filmer. No, it was some money. Because he wasn't really making much money. You know, when you sell skateboards and T-shirts and wheels, you don't make so much money. So yeah, it all started like this. I remember that he would really trust me, but the only thing he wanted to do is like planning, like just to know, okay, this time you will visit this skater, and so I remember I told him that it wasn't like if I was going like 7 days see each skateboarder and we would do 2 tours with all the team in 1 year that we will be able to make a skate video, but he was really into it. So I said, okay. And yeah, the beginning was, it's starting really mellow, and I wasn't really satisfied with the beginning. I mean, in Europe, the weather start to be not so good in fall, you know.
Oh yeah.
Winter can be really hard, cold and rainy. So yeah, it was kind of hard with the weather, and I went to visit some skateboarders. Went to visit a German skateboarder. It was called Mehmet Edin.
Oh yeah.
We nicknamed him the German Pasha. And he has a unique style and so smooth. But I think he was his career was kind of behind him. And I went 10 days to visit him, and I probably got 2-3 tricks in 10 days, and he wouldn't be able to jump anymore on stairs, on rails.
Yeah.
It happened few times during this first skate session, also in Brussels, with riders that didn't really fit together.
So the team at that time was, because Cliché was founded by Jérémie, who's French. So there were some French riders. Gigi Rousseau was on the team, Nicolas Caron. But I think pretty much all the rest were from all over Europe, right? There was Javier Mendizabal from Spain, Pontus from Sweden. I can't remember all the other ones, but were all these people coming to Lyon to film with you, or were they filming where they were skating in their local countries, were their own filmers? How were you working with them, basically?
I think there are two questions
Yeah.
in your question. I mean, at the time, Jérémie wanted to make a European company for European skateboarders, pro-European skateboarder, to be able to stay in Europe.
That's right.
So they don't have to cross the Atlantic and try to get a visa by chance and try to hope to make a career in the US.
Sure.
So he wanted to help European skateboarders to showcase them, and so that was his plan from the start. So he wanted it to be European, but it was still a lot about French skateboarder or French-speaking skateboarder. You would have some French skateboarder for sure, a Swiss, a Spanish, a German. Pontus wasn't in
the initial team?
No, not even when we started really to film.
Okay.
And Jérémie was a nice guy, and he would help so many skateboarders. So the team, it wasn't really clear who was on the team, the pro skateboarders, the one who had a board, it was clear. The amateur, it was kind of clear, but between amateur and what we would call flow or shop, a sponsor through Cliché and the shop, so that wasn't clear at all. So Jérémie would help so many skateboarders, giving them boards. So actually, the video, there was a selection, almost a natural selection when starting to film for the video, like who was able to film a video part and who didn't want, or who wasn't really able to film a video part. Because at the time you would get sponsored mostly because you would get photos in the magazines.
Right.
Maybe you would do demos or sometimes competition content skateboarders. But it's so different to be able to have an interview with 4 or 5 tricks and maybe 2 sequences and be able to film a 3-minute video part.
Yeah, for sure.
All the tricks have to be perfect. Because you can be a stylish skateboarder, or even you could shoot a very stylish photo, but the landing can be sketchy, or you could put the end. So it's very different. I would say it's kind of easy to make an interview in a magazine.
Yeah. But a video part,
To make a 3 minutes video part, when you think a good trick is 2 to 3 seconds, that's a hard job. And so the team changed from the beginning when we started the video and when we actually had the premiere. And that was a difficult time for Jérémie.
Okay.
Because, sometimes I would tell him that the difficulties I had with some skateboarders, and actually I knew he would see it, but it was difficult for him to admit that he would probably have to stop sponsor some of the skateboards. That was very hard for him, but it's actually how it happened. And I don't think anybody that was in the former skate team, Cliché team, had anger against Jérémie, because they would understand. They wouldn't be able to have a video part, and I would say that's the deal in skateboarding. You don't have a video part, you're out of the team. That's maybe terrible, but that's the deal. And your other part of the question is going to visit someone 7 days. It's going probably to rain 2 days. You got kicked off 1 day. You break his board. You don't get that much stuff.
Oh yeah.
So we would do some skate mission. We would do a lot of skate mission in Lyon,
right?
In Paris, Barcelona, also in Brussels, where Geoffrey Vanov was staying, and basically where you could find good spot and where we would be able to stay, because there's no way we would be able to pay hotel or stuff like this. So we had the chance that Alexis Zavialov was a photographer at the time, and actually the Super 8 videos that you can see in the intro on the Cliché video is filming of Alexis and Jérémie. None of mine. And so the story is like, Alexis has two brothers. They were tennis players, like really, really almost professional tennis player, and they would train in Barcelona. So they had a flat in Barcelona. When they were not in Barcelona, we would be able to go in the flat and stay in Barcelona. So that was the perfect plan. And I mean, the weather in Barcelona was perfect all year long.
Yeah.
The spots were perfect. And at the time, there weren't so many skateboarders.
Yeah.
I think.
But Barcelona wasn't as famous for skateboarding as it became more famous, I guess, after the probably early 2000s, after Europa and Menikmati and all those videos.
It was starting to be skated, but I think it's after the Europa and the Menikmati that the boom for Barcelona starting.
Sure.
And so all the spots were not so much skated, so there were still lots of tricks. I mean, we did skate some of the spots in the Cliché video were not filmed before we actually did it. When you're in the Magba Museum, there's this very, very long ledge.
Oh, yeah.
And I think Jérémie is doing a crooked...
Gigi Rousseau does the nose grind or something, frontside nose grind.
Nollie nose grind, that's still a very good trick. And JB Gillette, who wasn't on the team, but
back tail.
Yeah, he did its back tail, and this spot you can't skate it. I mean, I don't know nowadays, but you can't skate it on daytime. Actually, we had to go online, and we didn't have any lamp and generator as the American had at the time. So we light the spot with cars. So
wow.
When you see the filming, the lights is not so good, and to skate it, you actually skate kind of in the dark.
Yeah.
So this
difficult.
Spot, it was really three really good tricks, and so we had the chance to be able to sometimes do. The Spanish skaters, they would do crazy tricks on their spot, but
sure.
We still did lots of tricks that were not really done, and you would not get kicked off so much because there was not so many skaters at the time. The weather was perfect. You could go skate all the spot by subway, so you don't need a car. And I don't know, it's the life was so good. It was cheap to eat.
Mm-hmm.
We could party. We could also party.
Yeah, important for skaters as well.
Yeah, also. So as I was saying, the European winter it's very difficult to film. Yeah, it's rough. If you could spend your winter in Barcelona, but we wouldn't be able to afford that. And we would also want to have a diversity.
Yeah, of spots and locations and
Because one of the ideas behind the Cliché video was like, okay, we will try to showcase our Cliché riders and it was humble. It's to show the world, but not to show the world because they will show how good we are, but to maybe see, okay, it's not only about the US. Jérémie, at the time when you were a European skateboarder sponsored by a US brand, an American filmer would come 3 days, 4 days, 5 days in Europe, and you had to film your part in 3-4 days when the American rider would film 1 year probably. So he wanted to change that, and the idea was also we will try to show all the diversity of skate spots, because in the US at the time you would see sometimes the same skate spot at least the Californian skate spot, it was all the time the same skate spots. Even if the video were sick, the skate spots were all the time the same. So we really wanted to try to film in very different locations in countries. So that means we would not film a Cliché video only in Spain because the spots were great and the weather was great.
Yeah.
So that means as I was really into snowboarding, I went from December to March. I went to spend the whole season as I was doing in the winter, and that was also a good break for me to actually do something else and not spend my whole year filming. Mm-hmm. And we got the most of the filming from spring, so from April to end of September.
Okay.
It's 2000. It's the year 2000, and that's where it's probably the case for many videos. It started mellow. You don't get that many tricks, and more you go till
the deadline,
and more you're filming, and more the riders feel the pressure.
Sure.
And I think it's probably a natural process. I don't see any good rider who film his part the first month and then say, okay, it's done. And you could also say in 1 year, sometimes you progress, or sometimes you the trick progress, or there's different influence in skateboarding in 1 year. So
of course, yeah.
But I spend lots of time on trips. So with the whole team, we spend lots of time in Paris, Lyon, and Barcelona.
Okay.
You can probably feel that in the video.
Sure.
And I mean, those 3 cities, they have tons of spots.
Yeah.
They are not far. We could stay at some friends. In Paris, I would stay at my parents' house.
Yeah.
Vincent Bressel was living there. Geoff would take the train and was like 1 hour. It was very easy to meet in Paris or to meet in Lyon. And in Lyon, there was the squat, the Cliché apartment. So
yeah.
We would need to be really low profile on the expenses. So, I mean, there was a low budget for me, but there was almost no budget for the riders to travel as well. Or sometimes I would pay the travel with my own budget expense from the video. I think we also did a last trip filming with the whole team in Barcelona again in September 2000, and we probably spent 2-3 weeks intense filming to really
wrap up the video.
Get the last trick. We also get few last trick in Paris because I did the editing in Paris. So I was really focusing on editing, but you fix a deadline. You say, okay, end of September, you don't think anymore. And all the skateboarders are like, okay, just one more trick. I got this unique trick, you know. Yeah. So I did film few last trick in October 2000, but the deadline for filming was end of September, but the premiere for the video was mid-November. So the time was really short to edit a 1 year video.
So it took you just 1 month to do the whole editing, or did you start editing as you were filming the video, or did you just sit down and start editing at the very, very end?
I started editing at the very, very, very end.
Damn.
It took 1.5 months. And the funny stuff, it's like one day I just go to Jérémie and say, I think we need a computer. You know? So I had 1 year in filming on my tapes. So before editing, you have to in France you say dérush, you have to put all the tricks, all the tricks in the different tapes and put them. So that's not the most interesting job when you have to edit, but you have to do it. You have to classify, to organize, because after it would. When you start really to edit, you're not gonna go in, check to try to find a trick in one of the 100 tapes you have. So you really have to do the job perfectly before you really start to edit.
Exactly. Yeah.
And so we buy a computer, we buy a hard drive. I remember at the time it was a 20 giga hard drive.
Holy shit!
But it was a huge one at the time. You have to imagine. So that's a very different time. And so we had the computer, I had the hard drive, and it started like this. At the time, Puzzle was in the Lord's Wheels warehouse.
So in the Paris area, right?
Yeah, in Montreuil, so really close to Paris. Okay. And there were a free room. So Mamat, very friendly, told me, you should come to Puzzle and edit, because I didn't know how to edit. So it's not only about trying to edit a video in 1 month or 1.5 months. I never had a computer at all. So I never...
You had to figure it all out within a month, and at a time where there was no internet, no YouTube tutorials, like nothing to...
I had no tutorials, but I had a professor. And Mamat, he teach me the basics. A big thank to Mamat, because without him, I don't think I would have made it to the deadline.
Sure.
Never. So it was a very difficult and exhausting process to learn how to edit when actually doing a skateboard company video where there was so much expectation on the video. So
of course,
actually I was... not at the beginning, probably for the last 3 weeks, I was sleeping at the office on the floor, behind my desk. So I would spend sometimes 4 or 5 days sleeping on the floor.
Editing all day.
I would edit till I would fall asleep. During the editing, I probably wanted to stop 3 or 4 times, seriously. It was a difficult process to actually learn how to edit doing the Europa video, but and I wanted to do something good.
But let's talk about the music a bit of the video, because it's so you picked all of the music yourself, or did you also ask some of the writers what kind of music they wanted to use for their parts, or how did you select the music, and how did you work on the sound? But that's another question for later, maybe.
Ideally, I would have loved to pick all the music by myself, but you can't really do that. I mean, you can't really force a skateboarder to have a sound. But no, all the riders, they would choose their music. I wanted also to try at least to have most of the music rights, legal rights to use the music, because at the time, you know, especially in the American videos, they would just I think they would never really ask for rights.
Right, yeah.
Especially in France, you know, the legal thing about music rights, at the time it was already really, really strict.
Sure.
I didn't want to have any problem with that. So sometimes the rider had to choose a music, I would say, on a selection of music we had the rights for. But it's not the same for every rider. So some music we never even asked the music for. So it's the Pontus.
Oh yeah, the Bob Dylan song, right? Yeah.
I mean, you're not going to ask the record company to have the Bob Dylan rights for a very famous French video.
Yeah.
And and the outro video, so it's Chemical Brothers.
Oh yeah.
I really wanted to have this sound for the outro, so but for most of the other, we either had the rights or some of the music were produced for the riders.
Like the Nicolas Malinovsky song for Gigi Rousseau, right?
Yeah. Nicolas Caron's part is one of his friends produced the video. Geoffrey Vanov, it's...
oh yeah, Julian Dickmans, you told me. Yeah.
His friend Julian Dickmans. So that was easy for us when we don't even had to ask for the rights. I think for Nicolas Caron, the music already existed and we used it. But for Gigi, the music was definitely created.
Oh yeah.
And so it's really interesting because I could ask for modification, you know. Could you do this? Could you probably change the sound, put it more loud and everything? So when you're a filmer and you want to really edit syncing of the music, it's such a chance to be able to ask the guy who's making the music to change it as you want. So
Right.
And the guy who was making the music, Nicolas Malinovsky, it's a skateboarder. It's Gigi's friend. So yeah, it
made sense.
Made sense.
One thing that you wanted to talk to me about was the sound in the video. Not just the music, but the actual sound of the skating. Can you tell me a little bit about how you worked to make it more crisp or more audible, basically? How did you manage to make a better sound quality for the actual skating?
The thing is, when you're a skater, there's a filming with your body, but the sound is also something very important when you land a trick or when you clack your tail or when you slide. I thought about this yesterday. I just put a new deck, you know, for...
I saw that on Instagram, yeah.
For 13 years, that was the first skateboard I just set up. And yeah, when you're a skater and you have a new deck and the first ollie with a brand new board, it's like clack. It's like there's a feeling about the sound, I would say.
Yeah.
So the thing also is like we were recording with camera that would not record the sound with such a good quality. It was automatic recording. So also when you imagine that the skater would clack the tail to ollie, an automatic system would say, oh, the sound is so loud. So it would down the size.
Oh, okay.
And after, if there's a grind, the grind is actually, the clack is BAM! And the grind is like...
Oh, it's kind of like an autofocus, but with the sound, basically.
Yeah. The time it has to adapt, as the skateboard trick is so fast, the sound is not on the same level as it should be if you were recording on a pro level. At the time, you could also set up manually, but I think there were no sound plug, so you couldn't really check your sound live when filming.
Yeah, on the spot, yeah.
And the other thing, if you would record it manually, if it's too low or too high, you fuck the sound also. So I was trying to modify the sound, putting some points on the timeline to try to make that the sound is on the same level and also adapt the global sound of the skate with the sound music. So it's a precise balance with just your rule about your ear, that you want to hear the music, but you need to hear the sound. I told you that a skate video with no music, it's shit.
Yeah.
But at least it's better to have a skate video only with the skate sound. It can be good. But if you have a skate video with the music and there is no skate sound, or it's so bad, so low, the feeling, the way you see the trick, the difficulty, it's totally different.
Yeah,
so,
very true.
I just have an example that Jeremy at some point is doing a feeble grind at the Conforama spot. It's the red.
Oh, yeah, on the side with the bushes next to the rail,
Yeah.
right? Yeah.
He slammed in the bushes at some point.
Yeah.
And I'm filming a long lens, and I'm just next to a road with lots of cars. So
Yeah.
thinking that you don't have the sound, when you check the trick in your camera, there is no screen. So you check if the trick is good filming, good landing with the rider, but you can't check the sound. So that's when a few months after I put the trick in the computer, I say, oh, it's almost as there is no sound.
Mm-hmm.
Hopefully I could find a grind sound from another trick that was kind of feeling the same, because it's a square rail, so it's not exactly...
Yeah.
And I found a good one. But the real change is... Fred Mortain was filming the Menikmati exactly the same year as we were filming the Cliché video, sometime, as we said, on the same spot. Mm-hmm. And the premiere, the European premiere of the Menikmati was happening in Brussels, in Belgium, probably 2 weeks before we did the premiere for the...
okay. Cliché. You saw it before you did the premiere of Europa. Okay.
Just before. And it was a video we were waiting for long. It was filmed by Fred. It was in a cinema, so the sound quality was really good. Mm-hmm. I never spoke with Fred about this, so I don't know if he actually did a really good work on the sound, or if I was also impressed by the quality of the sound of the music plus the skate in a cinema compared to me watching it on a small TV screen. Mm-hmm. But when I came back and I was finalized the editing, I probably spent way much more time working on my skate sound that I was actually doing before, but I probably spent twice much time. Uh-huh. It's also probably what make me be late.
Oh yeah, on the editing, yeah.
Yeah, I'm sure it made a difference. And since this day, I spent lots of time with the skate soundtracks, working on them.
To make the sound better, yeah.
Yeah.
So you told me you had to edit the video for a full month and you were pretty much killing yourself doing it. And so the premiere arrives, so it's November 2000, right?
Yeah.
So you told me there was the premiere the same day as the opening of this big store in France called Citadium, which is like kind of a big sportswear sort of store, but with lots of like skate brands and stuff like that. So tell me a little bit about that evening and how you managed to finish the video, the editing in the really final hours or even minutes before the premiere.
I don't remember exactly, but I know that Jérémie booked a date for the premiere, I would say a long time in advance. Mm-hmm. Long time, I would say probably 2 months in advance.
Okay.
And so, yes, a bit later, we discovered that the exact same day, there is this
opening
large store. Mm-hmm. It's 6,000 square meter store. It's a very famous store in Paris where all the tourists in the world are coming. So it's a giant thing. They have so much money. Now it's called the Kering Group. It's like a multinational. It's like a huge company. So they have so much money and... They are trying to go into the streetwear and skateboarding and surf industry by opening a very, very large store. Mm-hmm. So they are not legit, So for the opening, they send invitation and they would pay the expenses for so many people from France and some from Europe to come, and all the surf industry that is located in South West and media, so surf, skates, snowboard media, everything. Mm-hmm. So all the industry is in Paris for this evening, and we are like, we are fucked, because even if people would really be into going to the Cliché premiere, some people would be, because it's like you're going to a giant party with champagne. So, you can understand people are like, the Cliché. Because, it's cool to see a video premiere, but we would do other premieres later, and people would know that... So probably if you go to the Lyon premiere 1 week later, you can probably go to this giant free party and party like an animal. So we are like really, we are not anxious, but we are. We find it's very bad for the premiere, So, but later on, this shop premiere is actually starting early. Mm-hmm. between 6 or 7 p.m. It's probably we also put the premiere a bit later on, so like 9 p.m. or 10 p.m. And from something being negative at the first, in the end, all the industry was in Paris.
Yeah.
Even sometimes, I would say, France, people would have never traveled France, or people from the surf industry or the snowboard industry, they would be in Paris. So in the end, it was so much positive, and we made the premiere in a very large location. It was a café, a music concert cafe called MCM Cafe. MCM was like a French or European MTV.
Right. Mm-hmm.
And they would do a concert, and they would also record live sometime for the TV. So they had all this crazy sound. And it was a cafe, a bar. You could put so much people in it, probably 2,000 people or something like this.
Mm-hmm.
So it was a chance to have all these...
this crowd, yeah.
It's not so good to drink so much alcohol, but imagine when people arrive around 9.
They're already a little bit drunk and yeah.
They were a bit drunk, at least we could say they were fucking motivated and having fun and like... I think it was cool for a premiere. But at the time, I would edit till very, very last minute. And I had problems with the computer at the very last minute. So the premiere is at 9 p.m. I'm at the other side of Paris. So I have probably 1 hour transport to go there. And a bit late because, in fact, in this day, I'm making little details, but I'm probably export the editing 20 times and check it. And, there's few little details I have to make the modification. But when it's all good, and I click on the enter tab on the computer, the computer, it doesn't crash, but nothing happens.
Uh-huh.
And it's 7 p.m. and I can't export the video for the premiere.
No.
The world is stopping. You're tired.
After all this hard work at the last minute, you must have felt horrible.
What's the point? You imagine Jérémie going to the mic and say, "Oh, we are sorry, we have a problem."
The computer crashed. Yeah.
You don't see a premiere where there is no premiere. It can't happen like this. So hopefully, Mamat is there. He's helping me for the last day, and he's trying so many stuff with the computer, with the editing. And at some point, we're able to export the video, but without sound.
Oh yeah. Oh,
and we spoke about the importance of sound in music video, and you spend a month and a half to edit with the sound.
Yeah.
So it's probably around 9:30. I got the 1 hour transport. People are waiting, and Jérémie is calling me. And okay, it's all right. When are you coming?
Yeah.
When do you arrive? And I'm tired. I'm like, fuck, man. Maybe the video will be only with no sound. And I'm talking shit a bit, not because I'm having disrespect to him, but I'm so tired, and I'm so pissed,
Mm-hmm.
And so I'm saying, okay, we are trying other stuff. And at the time, Mamat has this just idea. He said, okay, we are going to export it on the VHS. But it's not a good quality, and it's not digital.
Yeah.
We also don't have a tape with nothing on it. So, okay, we just take a puzzle tape, and we
record it over it.
Record over it. You don't do that on a VHS. VHS is a one-time... it works, but it's not good.
Yeah, it's not designed to do that, yeah.
No. So to export it, it's very, very long. So you probably spend half an hour export the video. And so... it's too late. We don't have the time to watch the whole video to see if everything happens good.
To check if everything's okay, yeah.
We watch 3 points, three
different time frames. Yeah.
And so you say, okay, it's okay. And you also have to bring this VHS recorder and player, and you drive like crazy. And I can't really remember, but I probably arrived like 2 hours and a half later.
After the, yeah.
So as I was telling you, everybody arrived probably at 9, really happy, a bit drunk, and so they spend 2 hours being more and more happy.
Yeah.
So when I arrive, it's like, actually it's a party, it's not just a premiere, it's a party.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm so tired. And so I go directly to the guy who is going to play the video and who is As I told you, they play concert there, so they have this crazy music sound table with all buttons everywhere. And the guy is asking me, okay, how do you want the sound? Like maybe not too loud, or maybe. And I watch him. I'm like, man, you're going to put everything the most loud you can and the most powerful you can, with the sound. He said, okay. And so the video starts, and I would say I don't recognize the music. For 1 month and a half, you hear the music on a little TV.
Oh, yeah. Like your editing booth, basically.
Yeah, you don't hear the music on the computer, you hear it on the TV, so the music is a bit better, but it's a small TV, kind of a cheap TV. So but when the sounds start with the video, I was more into a concert.
Yeah.
So I'm like, wow. And so, yeah, it's definitely crazy. I mean, at the time, nobody in the team have ever watched the video.
Not even Jérémie?
No.
Okay, wow.
Jérémie went to see he went to see many of the tricks. He knew the skateboarding we have, the level, so he knew that. At some point, he went to the office, and said, okay, maybe you can show me, or maybe also for his part, maybe he wanted to edit it a bit with me. But when you spend 1 hour, 2 hours next to a guy editing a video for 1 month and a half, nothing is happening. I mean,
yeah.
So
you just leave, yeah.
You just leave. I mean, I show Jérémie some of the editing because he probably went to visit me because he was staying in Lyon and I was editing in Paris. So it wasn't also easy for him he would need to go to Paris to, at the time you couldn't send someone a video part with internet. It wouldn't exist,
Oh, yeah.
And so Jérémie and every rider discover the video as well as everybody. I think it's pretty rare that nobody in the team ever see a video premiering.
Yeah, they see it at the premiere in front of everybody, and everybody's been waiting for 2 hours. And
imagine it's shit, you discover your video part and you don't like it.
Yeah.
But I remember, so in the Cliché video, I think the intro, it's kind of like powerful. When the skate starts, I wanted it to be like boom, So I wanted it to be like this, and like you can imagine, like everybody's going crazy in the room, and like whoa. And so every rider, either they just come and see me, or we have an eye contact, and
they're stoked. They're super happy.
Yeah, they're stoked and they're super happy, and they say thank you with the eye contact. And I think it's really at the time they realize that what they have individually done and what we have done collectively as a collective, as a team, and that's a good souvenir. And it's funny because, we record it on the puzzle. At some point, nobody stopped the video.
Oh, yeah.
So after
it went into the...
Not directly, but you had some black, for some time. And after the end of a puzzle video that was longer than the Europa started again. I was also very anxious that actually the video would crash, or there would be a problem with the sound, or because I wasn't be able to check the whole video. So when you think about all this together, it's but I was still stoked, and Jérémie was he was very happy. He was totally happy. I would say that's a good souvenir.
I think you told me you went to the US, and on the trip you had the opportunity to stop by the 411 offices. I don't know where they are, but I guess in California probably.
Yeah.
And so you had an appointment with Josh Friedberg, who was pretty much the founder of 411 or something. And so you sat down with him, and probably Jérémie was there as well. And you talked about filming a little tour section that would go into a 411. Can you tell me a little bit about how that opportunity came about?
The thing was like the video premiered in mid-November. I think we probably had the first tape and DVDs for Christmas. It was probably a goal or an objective for the sales. And in January, there was this big trade show in Los Angeles. I can't remember the name, but it's the
ASR trade show or something, or
yeah, that's it. Good point. Because when you're doing this video, I mean, the job is not finished, So for sure, you're going to send it to the magazine and everything. But you're sending your video to the US. It's nobody knows about Cliché. You don't even know if someone is going to watch the video. So we went to Los Angeles for a few days for this trade show with few goals in mind. We really bring the Cliché videos with us to just simply go to the booth, to the brands and meet the magazine and give the video in hands. Because it's not only about the media, but it's good also to, if you give it to a few pro skateboarders and they watch it and they like it and they speak about it to someone else, maybe to their shop. And we were also trying to find a distributor for Cliché.
Okay.
Not for the video, but
for the boards, the products, yeah.
We found one, a small one, so at this time, it never really went big, but at least we found one. And I have this idea in mind to go and meet 411, because I don't exactly know when it came to my mind, but I think that was the next step. To be totally legit, to really have the credibility and be a skate company, a skate brand that everybody know. It wasn't only about making a really good video, you needed to be on 411.
Sure.
It's hard to imagine for people, for maybe the young skater, what was 411 at the time. And sometimes, not like puzzle, but sometimes people were a bit, especially during the years, have negative critics with 411. But you were sure to have a part in 411, a pro part as a rider, or a company part that every skateboarder in the world, or at least every shop owner in the world, will know about your brand. So I had this in mind, and I don't know, I can't remember, it's a long time, if I had previous contact with 411.
Before you went there?
Or if we just went to the office like this.
Okay.
And I think I told you it was Josh Friedberg, but it wasn't Josh Friedberg. We met Colin Kennedy. So Colin Kennedy, it's a filmer, a really good filmer.
Is he the guy who made Skate More, the TVS video?
Right, that's him.
Right.
So in the end, we went to the office. I don't know why, but we are in the US with Hugo Liard.
Oh, okay.
It was a friend of ours, but I don't know why he's coming. And also maybe it's just for the French or the Lyon scene, but with Ben Gonsolin, it's Ben, the owner of Wall Street skate shop, a famous skate shop in Lyon. So we are in the US, and we go all with Jérémie also at the 411 office, and I don't know, I'm like a kid, we take a picture with the sound, and Colin Kennedy is very nice. I don't know how, but he already saw the video and liked it. Yeah. And I thought it would be more difficult to convince him to have a tour part, so to have a Cliché brand doing a tour, filming a tour, and having a part in the 411. So the deal is done, and we go back in France, and thinking about this tour, it's almost like the Cliché video for me. Filming this part, I know it's a unique opportunity. I know if we make it not so good or just an okay part, it's almost as if we failed. Yeah. So I put lots of energy, and we do a very long tour. So we do a 3.5 weeks tour mission with almost all the team. And we go in Spain because of the skate spots and because of the weather also. To be sure that we are going to have nice weather, nice lights. Be sure to be able to maybe skate every day. And at the same time, it's the same deal. We want to show new spots because we know we will impact some of the people because there is good skateboarding from people unknown and on skate spots never seen. So we go in Spain, we start in the Basque Country, we travel to Madrid also after, to Sevilla, to Malaga, and back to Barcelona. Okay. It's a long tour, kind of tiring for everybody. It's very hot, very, very, very hot. Look, it's good to have good weather, but when it's 40 degrees,
Yeah, complicated.
So we end up in Barcelona. It's easy. It's also starting to be famous spot, but because I think it was really important to have never seen spots, but also spots that started to be known internationally. It means, okay, you do this trick on this spot. Wow, that means something. So I think the Cliché tour in the 411 was quite good. There was a very positive response and reviews and from people. And it was kind of a confirmation that what we did with the Europa was not just a one shot. Yeah. And I was very happy that at the time 411 they were doing 6 videos a year, and each year they would do a best of.
Oh yeah.
The best of what was in 6 video. And for example, you had one pro part and you probably had 1 or 2 tour. And we were selected in the best of 9. So
Cool.
that was
Big recognition, yeah, acknowledgement.
I wasn't expecting this at all. So we did a very good job.
Yeah. So you did Europa, then the 4-on-1 segment, and a little bit after that, you had the opportunity to go work at Globe. So can you tell me a little bit about how they approached you, or how did this opportunity happen for you, and what exactly was your job over there? Were you doing the same thing, basically, being the team manager and a filmer, or?
Hey, it's like quite the same job. I worked with a contract for Cliché for 2 or 3 years. After that, I went back working with Puzzle because Puzzle Video at the time they had way more budget, and it was kind of the years where, I mean, Europe was booming and Puzzle also was a way to show the European talent. So there were a lot of exposure, and the video was something going huge in Europe.
Yeah.
Not only the company video. And Globe Shoes, they were doing this huge contest in Melbourne each year it's called the Rod Laver Arena. It was always around February when it's the summer.
Yeah, summer over there.
It's right after the tennis tournament, there's 4 large tournaments. So you can imagine it's like in France, it's like the Bercy.
Yeah.
So it's a huge contest, and at the time they asked me to come and film to cover the contest for Puzzle. I mean, Globe asked us to film for Puzzle also because they are about to start the European headquarters for Globe.
Okay.
At the time, I just hear also, before I go in Australia for the contest, I knew that they are about to start the European headquarters. They are looking for a team manager to start the Globe European team. They have a strong ambition to do a real European team. So I go there, and it's so crazy because they are doing there's a 2-3 days competition, and it's a 2-3 days of party. They pay you everything in bars, in clubs, and at some point I'm at the restaurant. Everything is free. The restaurant is booked only for Globe and skaters and journalists and everything. And the guy who will soon be director for Globe Europe, who is already working in Australia for Globe as a vice president or something like this. He was called Matt Wong. He just come to sit next to me at the restaurant, and he just introduced himself and say, okay, I'm going in Europe in 1 month, I think, and we start this thing and blah, blah, blah. And I was really interesting to work again for a company and be a team manager. That's something I really liked. I got the job, and so it started pretty fast. In 1 or 2 months, I hear about the job. I went to Australia and I got the job. So I set up a European team. I had a very nice budget for the time. They trust me a lot. I managed to build a team, to also build this team spirit that was really important. But we go on tour, we film, and we have to remind that Globe at the time, the shoes are quite shit. You probably have 1 or 2 pairs of shoes you can actually skate. So the skaters that are sponsored, they skate 1 or 2 pair of shoes only. And you have all these very ugly and wide Chet Thomas shoes that just make so much money out of it. But to be honest, Globe at the time, it's a well-known brand. They have good international riders, but the image is not so good.
Yeah, not so good, yeah.
So it was a nice challenge to try to build something, because I don't know if it was DC shoes or Ethnies, there's not so much challenge, but it was interesting for me to try to say, okay, we have this brand and
let's try to make it cool. Yeah.
Indian. At the same time, they were trying to make it cool on an international level. At some point, they made few pairs of shoes that were cool. They had new pros. They were changing the graphic layout in the ads. So it was also the right moment, but I knew if I was doing something good with the riders, it would have a very positive impact and clear impact directly. Because if you do a European team with DC, well, it's cool. But I mean, DC shoes, the legacy of the brand is done.
Yeah.
But with Globe,
you could build something, you could tell a story.
In Europe, I could be able to, with the riders, to build something.
Yeah.
And to make a change with distributor, with sales, and with kids seeing, oh, in the end, it's a European team, but Globe is cool.
Yeah.
That's how you buy a skate product, it's cool. The image is cool. I was able, I think, to just put one guy on the team. It's Jan Cleaver.
Oh, yeah.
Who I already put on the Cliché team.
Yeah.
And I was always so impressed about Jan, At the time, the technical trick with nollie frontside route when nobody was doing it on rails, and he was powerful and stylish at the same time.
Yeah, he had good style, yeah.
And the two times, for Cliché and for Globe, I had to convince him a lot. At the time for Cliché, he was just starting to be pro for a German brand with his friends, and it was hard, but I was very happy to convince him to join Cliché. It was good for the German market. I mean, in Europe, the business is when you have France, Germany, and England.
Yeah, those are the main markets. Yeah,
to be honest, that's the market where you're sure to make a lot of money. So it was important. And for Globe Shoes, he was on DC Shoes on the European team for years. I think he was really into DC. And so it was hard. But at the time, I knew him a lot from the Cliché days.
Yeah.
And we were friends, and
he trusted you. Yeah,
he trusted me, but I still had to convince a lot about the image. He's on DC, he's a stylish skateboarder, and you have to come up this shoe brand.
Yeah, with the Chet Thomas big tank shoes. Yeah.
But I managed to convince him, and that was important for me, because for people, Cleaver is on Globe. That means something.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it means you're doing your job right. Yeah.
Because I wasn't buying him 4 times the money or whatever. It wasn't really something about the money, because it was probably even almost the exact money. It was, okay, Jan, come with me because we are doing something not like Cliché, but almost,
Yeah.
We are doing tours, we're doing good stuff. I have some budget, we're going to film. So I'm sure for the people, some of in the skate scene are in Germany, Cleaver is on Globe. If such a rider is making this move, immediately that means something for the brain.
Sure.
I mean, it's
yeah.
If you have a very stylish American skateboarder joining, it was probably the case for Appleyard.
When he went to Globe, yeah.
I can't say Cleaver is the German Appleyard, but there's some similarities.
Yeah.
A good skateboarder, a very stylish one, and a skateboarder that is, I would say, a lot respected.
Sure.
And with very smooth skateboarding. So maybe Cleaver was my Appleyard.
Your Appleyard.
And so I've been working for Globe for 4 years and a half.
That stopped in 2007 or 8, around there, right?
Yeah, that stopped 2008. It's funny because I can't remember so much some dates, but I know I've started in April 24 and I've stopped September 28 because it's not only stopping working for Globe, it's quitting
skateboarding.
The skate industry. It's my decision, difficult decision to stop working in your passion.
Yeah.
That's a very, very difficult one because in 2007 I got separated. We had a child together and he was very young. He was 3 years old. I knew if I wanted to grow in my career in the skate industry, I would need to go in the south. I mean, either go to the Globe office or change company, but Quicksilver, Billabong, Globe Shoes, so many, because the surf company, I mean, that was also them who had the money to be able to do European team or pay people,
Sure.
Or go to capital city in a large city in Europe. So in fact, I would need to move. And the deal was with my ex-girlfriend. Okay. So I end up having my son with me 1 week every 2 weeks, which is not obvious because sometimes, the father, they have 1 weekend every 2 weeks. But it was really important for me. But the deal was either the mother or me, if someone leaves Lyon, he can leave, but without our son. I mean, I knew I would have to quit skateboarding because I would not be able to move from Lyon.
Yeah.
I simply couldn't imagine that. And at some point in 2008, my boss, James Appleby, it was very easy to work with him. He trusted me so much. He was a fucking nice guy, incredible guy. And he left to Amsterdam to work for Soul Technology.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
As marketing director or sales and marketing director. And so when he announced that to the whole team, everybody was sad. In my head, I say, okay,
Time to leave, yeah.
time to leave, time for change. And so I needed to find a job in Lyon. I did work for Cliché. More time was on the job, and there were no other opportunity to work in the skate industry in Lyon.
Yeah.
I wasn't also planning to keep filming by myself.
Yeah.
So yeah, I stopped working in my passion. It's a terrible decision. I had the opportunity to work for 4 years in digital communication agencies.
Yep.
The first day I arrived, I think, at the job, my new boss just talked shit to me like she was very angry because at some point she gave me 2 more projects. I had already lots of projects to deal with. I was project manager, and I just come to her, I remember, and say, probably can't do these 2 new projects. And she said, nobody ever say me no. First day, man, you quit your job. You quit your passion and you arrive this the first day, and at the time I had a kid and I just bought an apartment 1 year ago. So you're fucked.
Yeah.
I mean, you're fucked. You can't.
Yeah, you can't just quit the job. Yeah.
It was terrible.
Oh my God, yeah.
But I learned a lot. It was interesting. It was tough. I had an interesting salary and I had responsibility and I learned so much. I think in my whole career, all the time, I've been learning so many different jobs, but sometimes with difficulties. It's kind of the same as, not exactly the same as the editing the Cliché Europa, but...
yeah.
And then after I went from 2012 to 2018, so 6 years, I worked for 2 very large companies, like a French company called Groupe Seb, who has like 25 brands in the world, 25,000 employees at the time, and they make like 4 billion turnover, I don't know. So it's a very large company with 6,000 employees in France. So you're coming from the little brand, little company. You're coming from Jérémie, one-man company with his artistical way of managing a company to...
2 different worlds, yeah.
And after that, I had the opportunity to work for a bank.
Yeah, Crédit Agricole, right?
Crédit Agricole, so it's a large French bank, but it's also almost an international banking group.
Yeah.
I jumped on this opportunity also because I could be self-employed. I was working every day, but I was invoicing them.
Oh yeah, you weren't like employed...
Yeah, I was unemployed.
Okay, yeah.
I'm not someone who is really after money, but I could make so much money. Definitely crazy. Like probably 3 to 4 times what I was making in my good years in skateboarding. But at some point, when you add a very large bank and IT department, it's like probably one of the most boring areas. So
yeah.
And at some point, I went to my wife and said, when I go to working at Crédit Agricole, I feel like I'm going to jail every day.
Yeah, that sucks. Yeah.
I was getting also 40. It's the kind of the crisis of the midlife.
Oh, yeah.
My father died from a cancer.
Oh, right, yeah.
In 6 months, and yeah, you mix all that, and at some point you're like...
what the hell am I doing? Yeah.
Yeah, I told me, I want to do something I want to do or I like again.
Yeah.
And at this time, I'm on holidays and I got, a job alert. I think it's a digital and customer relation manager for a ski resort in France called Les Arcs. And so I'm so psyched about the job. I just make an application, but rapidly, in fact, I'm a bit over experienced, and probably my expectation, even if I make some efforts, would be too important for the salary. So I made the application directly to the marketing director. She was very interesting right away, and after she told me, no, it's not going to be possible. For sure, for a few days, I was depressed because I was like, okay, this is the thing I really want to do. It's like working for the promotion and the marketing of a ski resort. That was my goal. And it took me a few months. I worked a lot. I remember I was working like early in the morning. I was working after my day job at Crédit Agricole. And I made it, and I found a job in a village and ski resort in the French Alps. It's called Villard de Lans, and that's where I still live today. And I was like deputy director for promotion, digital, also like a sales service to book your holidays for the tourist office. So that was really interesting, but shit happens because the touristic industry, especially in those
ski resorts,
they are really linked to the city council. And last year there were elections.
Yeah.
And mayor and the city councils changed. And when you are those kind of responsibilities, usually they kick you off.
Oh, yeah, okay.
And they made it. So they gave me a check, but it was not so easy. So I've been working for 3 years. It ended in January.
So of this year, right? So about a year ago.
About a year. And if I want to keep on in this new industry, I have to move again my family because I went there for one job. So when you lose this job,
there's not much left to do. Yeah.
Yeah. So if you take a new job and you move to a large city, okay, if the job doesn't make it or finally it ends, you will find a new job. But here I knew it was only one job.
Yeah.
So there's two options. Either I'm keep on working in the touristic industry and especially around ski resort, or I'm also working on the different kind of projects so to again do something different.
Yeah.
And I'm really into nature and organic food. And I work on a plane to build a farm, a little farm.
Right. Yeah.
To grow vegetables and small fruits and trying to stay in the mountains where I live so my kids can just stay with their friends and
have a good quality of life. And
so yeah, the plan is to try to stay there. After the problem is like it's really hard to be allowed to buy
some land.
Yeah, I'm trying to buy some these days. I know if I'm allowed to buy them. The deadline is 15th of December. So if I have no news till 15th of December, I can buy the land and the house. That's a so cool project.
Yeah.
Even if it's going to be so difficult because we are in the mountains, so it's hard to grow vegetables. But I would say that's something I'm passionate about. And that's something that makes sense.
Sure.
Even if it's hard, I know every day I'm not going to ask myself,
why am I doing this? Yeah. You have purpose.
I think in your life, when you have the opportunity to have an answer to the question, why the fuck I am doing this, and you have an opportunity to solve this problem, it's a chance. So the problem is like, if it doesn't work, I don't really have other option.
Yeah.
So
you'll figure it out. You'll find a solution. So I told you I had questions for you from Pontus and from Greg Poissonnier. And actually, the question that Greg had for you, I'll play it on the podcast.
Okay.
Salut Ben, ici Greg. Écoute,
hey Ben, this is Greg. I hope you're doing well. It's been a long time. So Quentin has reached out to me to know if I had a question for you, since you're going to be interviewed on Beyond Boards. It will be nice to hear from you. So here's my question. After your departure from Globe Dwindle, you transitioned into a very different field. And I was curious to know how skateboarding might have helped you or not in this new career path. Thanks. Talk to you soon. So Greg Poissonnier was my guest on episode 4, I think, of this podcast.
I listened to it. I was really pleased to listen to it. Greg was the French team manager for Globe. He was hired not so long after me. I think working in skateboarding and also being a skateboarder, but I have to admit I really discovered it when I was working. When you work for communication, marketing, not only skateboarding, but let's say surf, skate and snowboard, there's no really difference between the brands and let's say skateboarding, the skateboard decks. Even if there's the time there were a few different manufacturers, there's no different technology.
Yeah.
So basically it's about the marketing.
Yeah, absolutely.
You have to try to be different or to be noticed because you don't have to be different. You have to make sure people notice your brand you have to be legit. You have to build the brand marketing on a long time. You know, it's easy to have lots of money and build something, but if it's up and downs, only the company that are doing the right stuff on a long time will always have benefits and will not lose.
You need a consistency, basically, yeah.
And the other stuff also, it's about like create content. So it learned me all that because nowadays everybody is doing that. It's about content creation, it's about community, it's about brand marketing, it's about whatever. But in fact, all the brands, they are doing that, not only in, I don't think about skateboarding.
All over,
they are doing brand marketing and like content creation. But in fact, we were doing that 20, 25 years ago and even before at this time, because that was how we were doing the marketing, the promotion, the brand communication. So that's why I kept trying to use, and probably also something about project management. For example, when you organize a tour for 2 weeks, you book everything. I thought about when I was planning tours, that I had the image in my head about missing a train or missing a flight. And all my plan, everything I had...
you had been working on?
For the day is coming, it's fucked. It's totally fucked because I was optimizing, so everything is so tiny. So, you know, there's no spare time and you don't even have the money to buy new flights or new train or whatever. So I remind something else. It's also about the management. It's very simple and it has something to come with one of my nickname. It's to manage something. You can't either be the best mate or the general or you know, the dictator. And one of my nicknames was General. I think it's Bressol, Geoffrey Vanov, who were making fun of me with that. I told you I was pushing the skater, but actually I wasn't really at all a dictator or general.
Yeah, of course.
You know, I trust them. If they were making errors or mistake or whatever, I was really okay with that. But they knew that at some point, if we had some job to do, like a demo, like a video pass, like a shooting, like a whatever, we had to get the job done. And it's probably coming from this. It's like, it's a general. It's like, okay, like now there's no joke anymore.
Let's stop fucking around. Let's get down to business. Yeah.
You know, it's so easy when you're a manager, if you have no pressure for result, to be the best friend. You know, it's so easy. You know, you're like, okay. And it can work to be the general, the dictator, but on the very short term.
Yeah.
So it's something interesting. It's more subtle, more complicated, how I'm always in my job managing teams of employees after skateboarders. And also something is like, if you're able to manage skateboarders, you're probably able to manage every kind of employees.
I'm sure.
I say that because I love them, but...
So, okay, very last question from Pontus. I'll just read you what he told me, and you can pick something to talk about. He said... Ask him about his party weekends in Chamonix. Ask him about fighting the Arnett surf manager inside the camper van on a surf skate trip to Lisboa.
I totally forgot about this one.
Okay. And he said, ask him where all the raw tapes went. I imagine he means the raw tapes of Europa. But I guess the Arnett surf manager thing seems interesting. So if you want to tell me about that.
Now, just quick. I never been partying in Chamonix, but what it means is like I was a lot into partying. And sometimes with Nicolas Caron, we were go to not the typically skate bar, but it was fun for us to go in real nightclubs and meet nice girl and not only go to the skate bar with the
bunch of dudes,
mostly dudes and 2-3 girls at the time. I think now it's changing, but you know, sometimes, you know, that's what the cliché day is. Sometimes I'm like, okay, maybe we can go in classic bar or nightclubs to really meet girls, you know. We
talk to some women for a change.
So that's why I think, and he says Chamonix for the famous spot or whatever, or maybe the mountain. Wow, the Arnett surf manager, it's like I totally forgot about this story, but Jérémie was sponsored by Arnett, a sunglass company, and we did a crazy trip on a camper van, but we were not sleeping on the camper van. We had hotels, they paid everything, so we had some filming done for the Cliché Europa during this tour.
Right.
I think I remember it was at a gas station. The guy was an asshole. I'm not someone fighting, but at some point If you're going to piss me a lot and you even want to fight, maybe it's going to happen. But we did crazy parties. In Lisboa, there were a plane in the city, like a plane that wasn't working anymore.
Oh, yeah,
and they made a bar in the plane. And I think I don't want to tell too much about this. And the raw tapes, Pontus, they are probably in Lyon, the tapes. Maybe Junior, who was a filmer for Cliché also, but I hope I will get the tapes back.
Yeah, that would be cool. I'd love to see some more footage from that whole time.
There's not so much footage left. For sure, we everything we filmed
went into the video. Mm-hmm. I just want to say thank you very much, Benoit, for speaking with me for quite a bit of time.
Yeah,
I had a great time talking to you, so thank you so much.
Me too. You know, it's the souvenir. I have been so lucky to work in the skateboard and to film with those guys, and that those guys, all the different guys I've been filming for, that just trust me. So thank you, everybody I've been filming for.
That's it for my conversation with Ben Derenne. You can follow Ben on Instagram at Ben Derenne. If you haven't ever seen it, go watch the Cliché Europa video on YouTube, DVD or VHS. Better late than never. While you're at it, go check out the Cliché Spain tour from 411 Video Magazine Best of 9 or any puzzle video that Ben has largely contributed to throughout his years as a skate filmer promoting the European skate scene. Thank you for listening to this episode. See you soon for a new episode of Beyond Boards.